Are you on Facebook? And if you aren't, is it a concern about privacy or you just don't have the time? Well, Lou Kerner is with us now with his findings from his second Facebook survey. Lou has analyzed social media companies for Goldman, Merrill. He's a former CEO of Bolt Media, and he is with Wedbush Securities now. He's also our friend and Inside Track regular. So this is a pretty cool study, Lou. You went through a lot of details, and it seems as if more than 40% of people log on to Facebook daily versus weekly, monthly, or never. So that's the majority.
That's right. I mean, everything continues to kind of go up and to the right for Facebook, both in terms of we saw just in the last 2 months that their membership of 18 plus, which is a survey is of 2,500 U.S. consumers 18 and over, grew more than 5% in just the last 2 months. And those people who are members are spending more time on Facebook. Now, again, the percentage of people who are logging on daily is over 40%. So everything seems to still be going well for Facebook.
What seems amazing to me, too, is just over a 2-month spread, these numbers have actually changed a lot.
Undoubtedly. I mean, they're still growing at a dramatic pace, and the amount of time that people are spending of the people who are members is still growing at a dramatic pace. So it's all still very impressive.
And you did a really good question here. If you aren't on Facebook, why not? And the people who aren't, more than half say it's a waste of time. So not concerned about privacy and not sort of the super grouchy answer like I don't have any time at all.
That's right. When we did the last study in September, it was pretty close between it's a waste of time and I'm concerned about privacy. And now what we've seen over the last 2 months, as we've seen less about privacy in the press, it's become less of a concern for the people who aren't Facebook members.
And it seems as if people, versus being very concerned about privacy, the people you spoke with or the people you polled are only somewhat concerned about it, which means probably they're not going to change their behavior at all.
I think that's exactly right. Again, and I think what's driving the privacy concern for members is the fact that they're reading about it less in the press, therefore it must be less of an issue. And in addition, Facebook has taken some pretty aggressive steps in the last few months in terms of enhancing the tool set available to members to manage their privacy settings, and more than half of the Facebook members have in fact utilized that tool set.
And a good demographic slice that you did is how concerned are you about privacy if you make over $100,000 a year, which most people probably in that income bracket and higher feel targeted anyway by advertisers. And it seems like only, close to 60% are somewhat concerned, again, meaning that's not going to stop them from using Facebook.
Yeah, I think that's right, Deirdre. And when we looked, we asked the privacy question, and we sliced it demographically, and most of the findings were as you'd expect. Males were less concerned than females. Younger people were less concerned than older people about privacy. But what we were surprised about was that higher income people were in fact less concerned than lower income people, and that was surprising. And I think that's also very positive for Facebook in terms of their opportunity to market to what's obviously the most attractive demographic.
So do you think that people are just getting smarter maybe about what they put on Facebook? In other words, they know that advertisers are potentially going through the data and they're not going to put very, very personal information?
I think that's right. I think that they're probably managing what they put on there better, and in addition, they're using the tool set that Facebook gives them to manage what is available to advertisers.
Well, speaking of advertisers, you asked this question, have you fanned a brand, sort of made it clear that you're in support of a brand. I was surprised more than half the people said they did.
That's right. And again, this is another
point, right?
Exactly. The last time we asked it in September, 2 months ago, less than half had fanned a brand. And the reason that members fan a brand is either to show affiliation with a brand, or if they're fans of a brand, the brand can put promotions into their news feed,
which
give
is
them
probably
deals.
Why most people do it, is to get deals.
I think that's a large part. But also there are certain brands like Starbucks that, Starbucks has over 19 million fans, and that's, increasingly a lifestyle brand. So people like to show their affiliation with Starbucks, and a lot of what Starbucks will put in their news feed isn't deals, but it's things like, hey, here's some music that we think that you'll like.
And they sort of have done some research and their own demographic studies to actually channel that to the right people, right?
That's right. Well, they send it to everybody. So when you put something in the newsfeed, it goes to all of their fans. And what they see is that this is something that's called owned media. So instead now of having to advertise, say, on American Idol to reach 20 million people, they now have 20 million fans on Facebook that they can just advertise to for free. And when they advertise to those people, what they see is that they get, that's 20 million owned, and when they put something in the newsfeed, a lot of those people will share it with their friends, and they get earned media that's often 2 to 3 times more than the reach that they'll own.
Starbucks providing all kinds of content. Lou, thanks for coming in and sharing the research. Lou Kerner joining us there. He's an analyst at Wedbush Securities.